Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, back to another exciting episode of the Real Film Nerds Podcast. I am your host, as always, Mr. Matt Hinshaw of the wonderful, beautiful, spacious, tree-filled northern Arizona town of Prescott. And with me, as always, basically my brother if I had a brother, Mysterious Mike.
Hey, everybody.
So, Mike, today we're doing something special. It's going to be tough for both of us. Okay, well, it's going to be tough for me because I ramble a lot, as you know. Maybe I just like hearing myself talk. Maybe I just think I'm full of wisdom and I'm really not. Or maybe I'm just truly full of random facts that are just dumb. But anyways, today we are doing not one movie, not two movies. We're doing 3 movie reviews.
Yep, 3, triple feature. Get ready, people.
So that's what this episode is called. If you're freaking out that it doesn't have a title of a movie in the episode title, it is our very first triple feature. So we will probably do some more of these in the future, especially when we have a hectic 2 weeks like we've had here in December with dozens of freaking movies being released. So for us to get all the reviews in at least somewhat timely, we're giving you a triple feature. All right, so Mike, we'll do a little bit of a tease. The 3 movies that we are talking about today, if you didn't look at the album artwork, is we're going to start out with the new Bumblebee. Then we're going to go into Robert Zemeckis' latest crapshoot, the Welcome to Marwen. And then we're going to finish it up with Adam McKay's latest political movie called Vice that's based on Dick Cheney. All right, Mike, you want to do this thing? Go ahead and kick us off. Give us the rundown of Bumblebee.
All right, so we're starting off with Bumblebee. It's starring Haley Steinfeld, Jorge Lindenberg Jr., and John Cena. It's directed by Travis Knight. Writers Christina Hodson. And the story on this movie is... on the run in year 1987, Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard in a small California beach town. Charlie, on the cusp of turning 18 and trying to find her place in the world, discovers Bumblebee, battle-scarred and broken.
Nice. All right, so Mike, in addition to the triple feature, to be able to try and cram 3 movies into our typical half hour, which will probably more like turn into 45 minutes most likely, let's go ahead and do it. We're going to do something a little special. Mike, how does Bumblebee relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, so the MCU tie-in on this one is Jorge Lindenberg Jr. was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Nice. Great. So, as Mike was going to explain, but I guess I cut him off a little bit, after he does the rundown for each one of these films, he's just going to jump right into the MCU tie-in. And believe it or not, Mike looked them all up, got all of them, nailed them down, and... it's amazing what you can do when you have a little bit of time off from work, right, Mike?
Yes. It's just time, and I was able to figure it all out so we can have this nice compressed episode, and I'm excited to talk about these 3 movies.
All right, Mike, so go ahead, kick us off. What did you think of Bumblebee?
I actually liked it quite a bit. And it's probably because a certain director wasn't involved. It was just a lot. I don't know. It was a lot better. It was the parallels, and you're going to hear this everywhere, people. The parallels to E.T. are in it, but I still just liked it. I just liked this movie. It was just better storytelling than a certain director that has directed these last few Transformer movies.
Parallels is putting it nicely. It is the story of E.T., which is fine. I have a little bit of a problem with that. Maybe if they would have changed up where everything fell, but I mean, if you put it right next to E.T. playing at the same time, I mean, some of the same shit happens at the exact same time. It's throughout the movie. It's kind of eerily similar. And I don't know if you noticed, but I believe Steven Spielberg actually was a executive producer on this.
Yeah, I think he's been involved with the last few of the Transformers, and it's only like a credit that I just see like real quick, so I'm not always 100% sure if he was involved from the very beginning with like the very first Michael Bay. I'll look real quick. So
if you want to. But yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, well, clearly if they did it, that means Spielberg was probably all right with it. But I will echo your sentiment. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. Is it going to set the world on fire? No, but it was fun. And that's, a lot like some other movies we've talked about. That's all you need, like Spider-Man. Spider-Man, our last movie on Tuesday, was really a lot of fun. And Bumblebee is the exact same thing. And I liked that it was more like a traditional kind of Transformer movie, much like what the cartoons and the cartoon movies used to be when I was growing up as a kid. They're fun. They're not real serious. They're not over-sexualized like Michael Bay's. They're not, trying to be a grown-up Transformers. It's not. It's fun. It's not, oh, look, here's the big-time love story. Yeah, there's a little bit of a love story, but I mean, they don't even kiss each other. Let alone showing, what's supposed to be a teenage girl practically naked painting a motorcycle.
Yeah, no, it was so much better as far as like the weird hyper-sexualized, Michael Bay isms with the camera like who goes in a circle around girls running in slow motion, Baywatch style. It was just, I felt like it was a reinvention of the brand, and I think it was good. I think it was a good move. They did a good job.
Well, speaking about that, warning here, people, we're going to spoil this. If it pops into our minds, we're not going to warn you, so sorry. Hopefully you guys have seen these movies, and if you haven't, go out and see them, or at least, this one for sure. But at the end, Bumblebee turns into the Camaro, which he is the Camaro in the first Michael Bay Transformers movie. So do you think this is going to be tied in with the already done Michael Bay films, and this is the only one of these we get? Or do you think this is going to be a complete reboot of the franchise? Personally, I hope this is a complete reboot of the franchise. I would love to see a couple more legit Transformers movies, especially the beginning portion of this movie where they're on Cybertron and Soundwave is in there and all the Transformers, how I remember them, Generation 1 from 1980. Oh, dude, I freaking love that. I would love to see a lot more of that.
I hope that they will do more with this I guess this, I don't know if they're going to reboot it. I really don't, but maybe, depending on how well this does, and I think it's doing fairly well. Well, maybe they'll look into it.
The other interesting thing, too, is, as spoilers again, the end when Bumblebee's driving away with Optimus Prime, did you notice that Optimus Prime is not the Optimus Prime from the Michael Bay movies? It is the true, legit Optimus Prime, how he looked in the 80s. He is not a Peterbilt semi-truck. He is the front-faced one, and he had his trailer, and I just got so giddy when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, they did Optimus Prime right. Yay! I was so happy about that. But again, that's the nerd coming out in me. So
yeah, no, I just think they did this movie, like, this is a good, just, I don't know, I guess different view from different perspective from someone else who loved, I think they love Transformers, or at least wanted to pay homage to it, and it really showed, and it was cool.
Yeah, I thought they did a wonderful job, and Bumblebee is the proper, Volkswagen Beetle, and they don't mess around with it. And the one thing I didn't, again, I'm not a super huge Transformer guy. I was when I was a kid, but I'm not big into it now. The villains in this one, I did not recognize those Decepticons. I think they might have just been thrown in for this movie, possibly. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get some hate mail from that, correcting me, hopefully. Nah, we probably won't.
No, that'd be cool if we got some hate mail. I mean, any hate mail's cool. So,
just mail would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right, so back to it.
Anyways, yeah, so I really liked this movie a lot. It was a lot of fun. Haley Steinfeld killed it. If she continues to act like this and not become crazy and be stupid, I think when she's older, this is just going to be amazing. She is going to win all kinds of Oscars. She is going to be one of the best actors of this upcoming generation, because I think she's still fairly young. I'm not sure if she's a teenager still, but she's definitely, early 20s if she's not a teenager. And she did wonderful. And
yeah, she's been in quite a bit actually, and I feel like she's done a lot of smart moves. So this is another smart move, and she killed it. She did a really good job.
Yeah, I liked her a lot, and she was also in Spider-Verse. She voiced Spider-Gwen, and I really thought she did well there. But this, you really get to see her as an actress, and she did phenomenal. Now, John Cena is always tough when it comes to acting. He's a wrestler and all that stuff. I think he did a great job. I think he did fine. One of the things that kind of bothered me, though, is that it was a lot of like the rehashing of, again, the E.T. kind of thing, where you have this military coming after him. You know what it is about a little bit. It's supposed to be Sector 7. It definitely felt more realistic, the military portion in this film versus the Michael Bay films. So I enjoyed that. But again, it was kind of hokey, but it wasn't awful. And I think John Cena kind of played into that and played with it a little bit and did take it super serious. And I think it worked.
Yeah, I do too. He's somewhat. I mean, for me, it's a little hard to see him not as a wrestler a little bit right now, but I know he's trying to become a serious actor and stuff, and I've seen him in several other action type movies and stuff, and I think he did a pretty good job. I even had a little bit of trouble. Now I know this is a little while back, but with The Rock. But when he did that movie with Stifler,
The Rundown,
The Rundown, I really started believing in him, and that was awesome.
Well, I agree, man. I was just going to bring that point up, but you jumped ahead on it. The Rock, still to this day, I have a hard time not seeing, The Rock especially in the cheesy movies like Skyscraper. I could see him standing on like the balcony of the skyscraper with a microphone in his hand, sticking his tongue out, screaming at the top of his lungs of, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?"
Right. Yeah.
It's hard not to see him, especially when it's a cheesy as shit movie like that. But hey, he's doing a phenomenal job. We've talked about it before, but Jumanji this past year was fantastic. Loved it. He did such a good job.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
John Cena will get there. I just think it might take some time, much like what it took with The Rock. Yeah, he's going to need a couple more serious roles. Not super serious, but like more action-y roles, kind of like this. And more of a starring one, or at least a co-starring one. Because even on this, I wouldn't even put him in the category of co-star, personally.
Yeah, it was just a role. Yeah.
All right, so Mike, let's go ahead and hop into it. I'm going to let you go first. How many reels do you give Bumblebee?
I'm going to give Bumblebee 3.5 reels. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and it was a good look at the Transformers universe. Kind of a refresh, because the last few years have been terrible.
All right. Well, I guess even though I had the issues with E.T. Being a direct pull, I still had a lot of fun with this movie. It might be my love of the Transformers, especially growing up, but I really enjoyed this movie. I give it 4 out of 5 reels. I think if you like Transformers, or you like action, or you're a big nerd like me, this is a must-see.
Oh, man. All right, cool. Awesome. I mean, I'm always a little bit harsher, so Par for the course.
But still, dude, 3.5 for you is pretty solid.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. All right, so we need
Let's
to keep
do
it
it.
moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. Welcome to Marwen.
Oh, all right, Mike, go for it, man. Give us the rundown. Give us the rundown on this wonderful movie.
All right, so we're doing Welcome to Marwen. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's written by Robert Zemeckis and Caroline Thompson. And it's starring Steve Carell, Mariette Weaver, and Leslie Mann. And let's see, the synopsis is a victim of a brutal attack finds a unique and beautiful therapeutic outlet to help him through his recovery process.
All right, Mike, go ahead. I know you want to do it. Jump into it. How does Welcome to Marwen relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, so Welcome to Marwen relates to the cinematic universe with a composer, Alan Silvestri, also was the composer for Captain America: First Avenger.
Gosh, yeah, I love Alan Silvestri, man. He has done some of the biggest films. You know, he's worked with Robert Zemeckis before. He is a name that everybody knows in Hollywood. He is an incredible composer. He's up there. I don't know if he's quite as good as John Williams, but he's up there at that level. John Williams, again, being a hardcore Star Wars guy, is the pinnacle for me. But Alan Silvestri, he's up there next to him.
Yeah. So Matt, I know you have some strong feelings about this movie, and I do too, because it was really a disappointment.
Yeah. I don't want to say hate, because hate is too strong of a word, but I was not a big fan of this film. There is some redeeming qualities in this film, such as Steve Carell's acting. He was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good.
And speaking of Steve Carell, like, this is one of two movies in this 3-movie review. He's also in Vice. So, yeah. I mean, Steve Carell's killing it. He's doing great.
And they both came out the same week, maybe? Or did this come out a week before?
I think their Vice was technically Christmas Day,
that's right,
and I think this one was like a week before. So I mean, within a week or whatever of each other, yeah.
Yeah, within a few days actually of each other, I think. But yeah, a week. So, but yeah, I had kind of high hopes for this, but not. It looked kind of like a gimmick, the world of the dolls and all that stuff. It was unique and it was interesting, but I think Robert Zemeckis spent way too much time in that world. I would have liked to seen more about the guy's story. This movie is very dark. At least it was very dark to me. It was very depressing. It is really just messed up, and it is a true story to a degree. This Welcome to Marwen, and this is the second time Robert Zemeckis has done this in recent years, is a fictionalized version of a documentary called Marwen Call that was done in 2010 that, from what I've heard, I have not watched it yet. I would like to, but it's not streaming anywhere, so I'm going to wait until it is. It's 10 times better than this film, or so I've heard from critics. And he basically took a really good doc and fictionalized it. And this is the second time he did it. The first time he did it was in 2015 with a movie called The Walk.
Oh, yeah.
The documentary that was the Walk is based off of is called Man on Wire, and it came out in 2008. And it's almost the same thing. He took an incredible documentary and turned it into a work of fiction. Why? Why, Robert Zemeckis? You gave me some of my most favorite films on this planet. Back to the Future? I mean, come on. This is the guy that gave us Back to the Future, and he's putting garbage like this out. I really had much higher hopes for this movie. I really did.
Yeah, and Forrest Gump, man. I love Forrest Gump, man.
Yep.
I love Forrest Gump. And yeah.
Two of the biggest, most beloved movies, not just by Mike and I, but universally, at least in the United States. And he gives us this. If it wasn't for Steve Carell's acting, I would tell people not to see this at all. Period. It is not worth your time. But Steve Carell's acting is that freaking good in this movie. It really is.
No. Steve Carell was amazing in this part. And I don't know all the story exactly of how much of it is true and how much it isn't.
Well, from my understanding, a lot of it is true-ish. There's things that are made up, like the girlfriend across the street, I think, is made up. I'm not 100% on that. But I think the girl moving across the street is made up. The guys beating the shit out of them being Nazis is true. I don't know about him wearing women's shoes, if that's true. But him
I
creating
hope it's true, because otherwise that's like... I felt like that was such a huge focal point in the movie. It's a major
plot point, yeah.
If that's not true,
I don't know.
That makes me sad if it's not.
I personally don't know. I would hope so, because it's clearly a major point, as you were pointed out. Him building the town is true. He did that in his backyard, and I don't know if it's still there or not, but he did that. The gallery show is true. Him doing these beautiful photographs is true, but he didn't shoot it on film. Being a photographer, I know he's sitting there using I think he was even using a Pentax K1000, which you even used, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I did. Only in high school, though, people.
Right.
Only in high school. A long time ago.
And what's funny, too, is when he's shooting in the movie, it's not a viewfinder of a Pentax K1000. It's kind of something else, but it looks like that's what he's using. It might not be. A lot of those film cameras back then all of them looked very similar. The Nikons, the Canons, the Pentax, they all look very similar. But I'm getting into a stickler on that, so I won't. Now, in the documentary, he actually, I believe, was using an old, cheap digital camera for the most part. But he really did this. He made this world. He shot these incredible images. He lit them well. Being a photographer, that's one thing that bothered me a whole lot in this movie. They show him shooting these pictures, and they have this dramatic, incredible lighting. And it's like you wouldn't get that with sunlight unless he was shooting it at certain times of the day and things. He probably really lit it in real life. And in the pictures in the movie, it looks like they're using legit lights and things. And clearly it's not. It's all computer-generated stuff. But that's my photographer coming out in me. And so I won't worry about that. We're going to get back on topic of the movie.
Yeah, and the movie is... I don't know. It's kind of good, but it's sad, and it focuses a ton on the Marwen world, and I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad, but and then I don't know what kind of drugs, because spoilers. Sorry. They're giving him lots of drugs, and obviously this character, the situation is, it's amazing this guy's alive. It's, and he's really struggling, and I really enjoyed the part where they show pretty much everyone is trying to help him. Just about every person that he interacts with is trying to help him, which is amazing. Because that doesn't even seem like the real world.
It doesn't seem possible. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't even seem real to me. That seemed like Hollywood to me. Because why would every single person be helping this guy? But his situation is awful.
Yeah. He was literally beaten so bad that he can barely write his own name, let alone do his artwork that he used to do, which they don't really talk about much in the movie. They show you a little bit, but it looks like he was either a comic book artist or a famous drawer or painter or a little bit of both or whatever, and just incredible works. And then he's beaten to within an inch of his life. He doesn't even remember doing any of this shit, let alone being able to do it again.
Yeah, no, he can't even remember his past. Like it's incredible, but so you feel for him, and it's a sad story, but
here's one of my dark takeaways from this film. It's a little depressing, but this is a very, very good example of showing the reality of PTSD. Yeah, this is not a wartime PTSD or anything like that, but this guy is suffering from PTSD at a level that's unfathomable, and he is able to fight through it thanks to this town and his artwork.
Yeah, no, I would say that's actually a pretty good assessment.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. The story is fantastic. I know you said you don't know if it was good or bad, how much time they spent in Marwen. I think it was a bad thing. I think have a little bit of Marwen and all this stuff, but don't make it the focus of the movie. Really don't. And I feel that Robert Zemeckis did. I'm more interested in Steve Carell's life in this town, the town interacting with him, the ladies helping him out, everybody caring about him and his, shoe collection, all this stuff. I like that a lot more than this side story of action in the town. Sure, that's cool and fun and interesting and unique, and it's interesting seeing all the mocap stuff, but you don't need there was parts where it felt like it was a half hour, 45 minutes of just a solid story of him, being tortured by Nazis or shooting Nazis or I don't know.
No, it's spent a lot of time into the fantasy world, and I don't know exactly why it did that. The graphics and all that stuff was really well done. Like, no faulting. Like, whatever did the stuff, like, I thought it was awesome, but I felt like it would have been cooler, like you're saying, to find more about the actual guy, the all the things, because they say every one of his characters was based on someone he met, and you didn't meet all the people that he actually was representing. I mean, you kind of met some of the people, but not everyone. And I just wondered, where are these other people? And I was really, what really pissed me off about this a little bit, and this is just the trailer and all that.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say, because I was about to say the exact same thing. Go for it.
His physical therapy and all that stuff. There's this lady who's like encouraging him.
Yep.
They show the entire scene that you see in the movie in the trailer, and that's all you get. You never see this person again. I would have liked to see this character more, because I felt like it was very impactful. But I felt like I got robbed. I felt like they teased me on the trailer, and that's all I got. And
it was absolutely ridiculous. And they make it a big deal in the trailer, and literally the trailer is the amount that she's in the movie. And it's like, she was his physical therapist who, she lost her leg in Iraq or Afghanistan. I don't remember which one.
No, they didn't even say. They just said in some war or something. But, we got nothing. We got nothing.
And so she went through a lot of these struggles herself. She probably had her own bout of PTSD, so on and so forth. And you literally get nothing. Nothing. I was like, are you kidding me? She clearly is a big character in his little world, his fantasy world, because she is like one of the first ones you meet.
Yes.
In the fantasy world.
Yeah. So that made me actually a little bit upset, because I was expecting to see something. I mean, I didn't need a lot. I needed maybe 5-minute montage. I don't need a lot, but I just wanted something to show about his rehabilitation or anything. And they didn't really. They did have maybe 2 minutes of rehabilitation, and I was just like, what?
Dude, if that. Seriously, I agree with you. That's one reason why it's kind of freaky how like-minded we are, because I was thinking the exact same thing when you brought it up. Anyways, all right, Mike, so let's push forward We're already hitting 30 minutes or so, give or take.
All right. We're failing. All right, let's go.
No, we're not failing. I think this needs to be talked about. I really do. It could have been a really good movie. It is a really good story, but it came up short. It really did. So, Mike, how many reels do you give Marwen? Or welcome to Marwen. Sorry.
I think I'm going to give him welcome to Marwen 2.5 reels.
Oh, dude, how is that frickin' possible? How is that possible, Mike? Oh.
What are you going to give it? Are you going to give it 2? I'm interested now.
Yep.
Oh, you're giving it 2?
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, see? We're different.
Welcome to Marwen, a 2 out of 5 reels, because I feel the only redeeming quality, there's 2. There's 2 redeeming qualities of this movie. It's the story and Steve Carell's acting. That's it.
Yes, Steve Carell was amazing, and the story... I think the story is pretty good. I just don't think we saw as much as we should have.
Right, and that's why I really want to see the documentary. I might have to just bite the bullet and pay for it. But I really would like to see it because it just seems phenomenal. This story. It does. So, all right, Mike, I hate to do this, but we need to push on to our next film. And the next one we are going to talk about is... I guess a little bit of a controversial film. I don't know. Maybe not. But it is a biopic by Mr. Adam McKay, and that is Vice. Go ahead and give us the rundown, bud.
All right. So we're talking about Vice now. And Vice was directed by Adam McKay, and it was written by Adam McKay. And it's starring Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, again, and Sam Rockwell. And the story of Dick Cheney, an unassuming bureaucratic Washington insider who quietly wielded immense power as vice president to George W. Bush, reshaping the country and the globe in the ways that we still feel today. So, this movie was... Anyway.
You want to do your MCU tie-in first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go real quick into the MCU tie-in, so... MCU tie-in. The director, Adam McKay, also wrote Ant-Man.
Nice. All right, so Mike, go ahead and kick it off. You already started going into it. What did you think of Vice?
Man, I really like this movie. It's kind of an unassuming movie, and it's got this stylized feel. That's it's by the director who did The Big Short, and I kind of felt that, but it was fun. It was good, and. I don't know. It's a little bit scary because I'm not sure how much is true and how much isn't. But
Mike, they tell you in the end credits that it's all 100% true.
Right. But anyway, it was a fascinating story into a particular political figure that I didn't really know anything about. I knew nothing about Dick Cheney. So it was kind of neat to see his upbringing in, Wyoming and his love of his family. And I will say, this is the unique thing that I will say. For a political type movie, this movie emphasized so much that Dick Cheney loved his family without saying that, he loves his family. Like, they just showed him, doing things with his family and stuff. It was amazing. Never do you see that in any kind of political movie.
That's true.
He was hanging out with his family often, just doing things. And I thought that was really cool, actually, for a political movie. And I felt like that was a thing that he did, because they wouldn't have done that otherwise. And like he would go fishing with his family and he would do this with his family. I thought that was cool. Because for the most part, I don't feel like they ever talk about any of that stuff with political movies. So that was neat. But I thought this movie was great. It was entertaining. Christian Bale was amazing. I mean, he probably gained weight and lost weight just like he always does for the different parts of the movie. And like, it was awesome. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, he gained a lot of weight. Like, that's what Christian Bale does, man. He's a method actor. So he gained a whole lot of weight. I still think they put him in, dressed him up a little bit with rubber and such, but he still put on quite a bit to try and look like Dick Cheney.
Yeah, what did you think, man? Like, I don't want to be very political because, it's so hard. But,
I liked it. I don't know if I liked it as much as you did. I went and saw this with my brother-in-law and my sister, and my sister absolutely loved this movie. Thought it was incredible. I'd say I enjoyed it. I don't know if I thought it was incredible. Being a journalist and a student of history, I knew a little bit more about Dick Cheney and his life than probably the average person, but still I learned quite a bit about him watching this film. At least hopefully I did. Again, much like you alluded to earlier, I would like to figure out how much of this truly is accurate and how much is not, and what was left out, because the movie might have been 100% accurate, but then the question is, what did Adam McKay choose to leave out? Because Adam McKay is definitely a Hollywood hardcore liberal, and that does come off a little bit in this film for sure. A little bit might be saying it nicely. It does come off moderately in this film. I'll put it that way. It's
yeah. There's a part in the movie. Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of time. So there's a part in the movie where it pretends it's ending, but it's not ending. And it's to show, it's like to highlight a point. So, yeah.
And it's not, he's not blatantly screaming, Dick Cheney is horrible and kill Dick Cheney and awful. And it's not a Michael Moore movie, I guess is a good way to put it. Michael Moore puts his slant hardcore on all his movies. At least that's what I feel. This, I think it has, the liberal slant to it to a degree, but not really bad. I don't think it's quite as good as The Big Short. I think The Big Short was definitely a little bit more neutral and a little bit more informative. But I will say, I like this movie, but I don't think it was deserving of all the Golden Globes it's been nominated for. How's that?
All right.
Because it's nominated for a lot.
So Matt, I just talking about that. What did you think of some of the narration and the character and the kind of how some of the... I mean, I'm just going to spoil the shit out of it.
Yeah, we probably should tell people this is a major freaking spoiler, and it's one of the things that I didn't really like and I thought was kind of dumb, but I like how it was done, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask you, what do you thought of there's a kind of a narration to the overall movie, a lot like The Big Short, and it's done by a character who you're not entirely sure what their role is or why they're important until pretty much the very, very end. And when it happens, you're like, oh, well, shit. Like, it's kind of it's kind of a weird moment.
It really comes off as a gimmick to me. It really does. Have the narration and everything, but why did you have to have it be that particular character? Now, the actor is one of my favorite young actors coming up in the world, especially in comedies.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Like
phenomenal.
Game Night wasn't he? Was the weird cop dude? Yeah, he's coming up, man. He's working his way up. But
he was amazing in the Fargo television show as well.
Okay,
amazing.
Okay.
But anyways, I felt it was a cop-out. It's one of the storytelling elements of this film that I really did not like. I just did not. I mean, I like the narration and everything like that, but the instant they come out and tell you his relationship to Dick Cheney, it's just, you have that in the back of your mind from kind of the start when he says right off the bat, like towards the beginning, you know, I know Dick Cheney intimately, and I bet you don't know why. And then you spend the majority of the movie until they reveal that with a little voice in the back of your head going, what the hell is this guy? How is he related to this movie? Is he like one of Dick Cheney's like bastard children, or is he like a long lost brother? Or like, you just sit there thinking the whole time, at least I did, how the hell does this guy relate to Dick Cheney? Because it's clearly two completely different worlds.
Yeah, I did definitely. And when it was resolved, I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch!" Like, I don't know. It was a cop out. I don't know if that was the best way to do it. And then also, some of the, I don't know, kind of crazy. There's scenes in there, and this reminded me kind of The Big Short, but it didn't quite fit as well in this, where there's just kind of weird, like cut scenes, kind of where they're showing you a bunch of weird stuff. And you're like, they're trying to slant you towards some kind of view. And I'm like, was that necessary?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. To me, that was a little bit weird. But I mean, it's a stylistic choice. And that's like almost 100% when I watched this movie, I realized exactly who directed it without referencing who directed it.
Well, a couple things, and I liked one and I didn't like the other, was a couple of the elements that he used to tell the story. And I think one of them really takes you out of the movie and you kind of start questioning and going, what? Why are you doing this? Okay. And the other one I thought was a really good, fun, interesting way to tell a story, even though I think most of it was factual. But the first one is when Cheney and his wife, played by Amy Adams, are lying in bed and they start referencing Shakespeare when they're getting ready to go to bed or something.
Oh,
and they start,
yeah, dude, that was a little weird.
Yeah, they start speaking in Shakespearean type language and writing, and I was just like, really? That completely took me out of the frickin' movie. It really did. I didn't like it at all. I think it could have been left out. I thought it was just dumb. It was a gimmick. It was a gimmick. Now, on the flip side, there's another gimmick later on, but I thought it was one of the better storytelling elements of this film that's not clearly historical, was the scene in the restaurant when the waiter walks up to him and hands him the menus, and it has all these policy decisions on it, and they're all really bad. They're all really bad, and they're all true, and they all really happened, and how they're like, which one would you like, guys? And they say almost in unison at the same time, we'll take them all. And I was like, wow, that was powerful. That was a good storytelling element that clearly is not part of the story. I wanted more of that.
Yeah, where the waiter like listed out everything in a very succinct, very clear way. And then they were like, we'll take them all. And that, you're right. That was actually very creative, and that was a good way of doing it.
It was very creative. It was very thought-provoking. It was very powerful. That one scene. I wanted more of that. And that was not, as much as everybody thinks it is or wants to think it is, that was not liberal bias at all. That was straight up the truth.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I really enjoyed that scene. Yeah, that was cool. So, Matt, I don't want to go too long. What is your rating of the movie?
Well, the story is good. The acting, especially by Christian Bale, was phenomenal. Steve Carell as Donald Rumsfeld. I mean, dude, that dude is killing it. If Steve Carell isn't nominated for some kind of Academy Award this next award season, I will be highly disappointed. His acting this year has been great.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, it's not I guess I don't know if I like it as much as you. You said you really liked it. You really loved it. I don't hate this movie. I don't think it was a bad movie, but I think maybe it's just me, but I wanted it to be better. I wanted there to be more direct storytelling, there's some bias, but there's not a ton. But I give it 3.5 reels out of 5.
Wow, yeah, you're right, man. I did like this more than you. I'm gonna give it 4 reels.
Damn, dude, that's an oddity. That's 2 in a row where you, Mr. Movie Review Curmudgeon, had higher ratings than me. That's some kind of record.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the holidays. Maybe I'm feeling good. I don't know. But no, I like this movie. I did like this movie. There are quite a few things that are kind of weird in the movie and a little bit complaints, but it's not enough to detract from this. This was just a pretty well done movie, and man, Christian Bale just killed it, and Steve Carell. I mean, man, guy's busy. This is great.
Now, is this a must-see movie in the theaters, Mike?
I would say no. I would say this is not a must-see in the theaters because there's no action or anything. This is a thinking movie, but if you had a chance to see it in the theaters and you were wondering what to go see and you wanted something to think about, this is the one to go see. When it's on all the streaming services and stuff, I would definitely recommend seeing it. Being that it's nominated for all these things, likely it's going to hit Netflix or Amazon Prime pretty quickly, but we'll see.
Yeah, I see not a whole lot coming down the pipeline in the next 2 to 3 weeks as far as new release movies. There's a handful. There's nothing I'm clamoring to go see like what we've experienced in the past 2 weeks. So if you really don't have a movie in mind that you want to go see and you're kind of eyeballing and you want to go to the theaters, I'd say definitely go see it. It's worth a watch. When it's out on Netflix or Amazon, like Mike was alluding to, it's definitely worth a watch. But it is not a must-see in the theaters. I definitely think it is well worth a watch, though. Definitely.
Yes, yeah. Like Matt already said earlier, it got nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes. I imagine the same kind of nomination streak will continue with the Oscars. I don't know 100%, but often the Golden Globes kind of set the precedent to where people are looking at certain movies. So I imagine it will get some stuff, and then if it does, then it'll be re-released and it'll be in the theaters for longer. So, it's not a bad one to check out. I really enjoyed this movie.
All right, Mike, so let's go ahead and tell people what we're going to do for next week. I know we are definitely going to be talking about the exact opposite of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Cinematic Universe's latest flick, Aquaman.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually excited to talk about that because I had a lot of fun watching that movie, but I'll save that for the review.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that one next Tuesday. And what are we going to do for Thursday, Mike? You have anything in mind?
I didn't have anything on the top of my head, but do you have anything?
No, not really. I mean, I almost want to go see Holmes and Watson because it's such a garbage fire from what all the reviews and everyone's saying.
Yeah, I've heard people are walking out like crazy. And I kind of want to see it to see if it's that bad. But go ahead. Can you compare it to Mortal Engines? Because Mortal Engine, like if there was a movie I was going to walk out on, that's it. Yeah,
and you stayed all the way to the end. I stayed all the way to the end.
I did. So how bad can Holmes and Watson be? I mean, honestly.
Now, one I do want to watch, but we don't have it here in Prescott, at least not right now as of this recording, is John C. Reilly's other film that came out the same day Holmes and Watson came out, and that's Stan and Ollie. And it's an independent, and I heard through the grapevine and through reviews and things that it is a pretty dang good film. but it is not here. And I would like to see that. So if it comes out, I might nudge you to go see that one, Mike.
Okay. Well, if it's around and I can do it, we'll do it.
But it definitely is a small independent film, so...
Okay. Well,
we'll see.
We are running way over time, so...
dude, I figured we'd probably hit 45 minutes. We're around like 50-ish. So that's not too bad.
So I just want to say thanks everyone who stayed with us this long. And, we're not going to always do triple features. It's just this time because there's so many movies coming out. And,
and let us know what you think. If you like the triple feature and you're okay with it, maybe from here on out we'll do maybe a double feature every now and then. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It depends how many movies come out. If you guys hated this, we just won't do another one. But I don't think anybody is ever going to email us, so it doesn't matter. We're going to do what we want.
All right. We do what we want. All right.
All right, Mike.
Man.
We'll figure out what we're going to talk about for our second movie next week. So I don't have anything else. I feel like I've talked my brains off. So I'm going to shut up now. And Mike, why don't you go ahead and take us out of here?
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll catch you on the next pod. And hopefully your new year is going well.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.